So we're starting with the P story of the spies. God tells Moses to send scouts, one from each tribe. Fine. And then we get this whole list of the scouts. I'm not going to spend any time on. Just let your eyes glaze over. There it is. And Moses sends them, and off they go, scouting the entire land from bottom, the wilderness of Zin, all the way up to the top, Lebo Hamat, which is right at the border of the Aramean territories to the north. And 40 days later, they come back in good biblical 40-day style. But when they come back, and this is key, when they come back, they tell lies about the land, right? They spread calumnies, in a word that no one has ever used in speech before. They tell lies about the land. It's no good, this land. It devours its settlers. It's not a good land. And also, by the way, it's full of giants. And the Israelites, reasonably enough, are upset by this news, even though we know it's not true, but they don't, right? And they wish that they had died back in Egypt, right? I wish we died in Egypt. We could even die in the wilderness. Anything is better than going into Canaan and dying there and being killed by the sword. Like, let's head back for Egypt, or as my slide says in a very funny Italian-like mistake, let us head back for Egypt. That's just a typo, but it's a very funny one to me. Okay. By the way, this thing where the people wish they died in Egypt is another one of these patterned parts of the tradition. Everybody has the people wishing that they went back to Egypt at some point in the wilderness, even as the episodes where that happens and the stories about it are totally distinct. So keep an eye out for it as we go through. Moses and Aaron, hearing this, are upset, naturally enough, but 2 of the 12 spies, Joshua and Caleb, they tell the truth. They're like, no, wait, it's not a bad land. It's a good land. Don't be afraid of the people who live there. Right, we got this. The people, the rest of the Israelites, are not in a listening mood and are threatening to pelt them with stones. And God shows up, which is, an almost universally bad sign in the priestly story when God shows up. And God's angry. I realize this is a ton of text on the screen. God's angry. Okay. You wish you just die in the wilderness? Done. You said it, I'll give it to you, right? All of you who were recorded from the age of 20 years and up, not one of you will enter the land, right? Except Caleb and Joshua, right? Because they did the right things, right? Your carcasses will drop in the wilderness, the whole thing. 40 days of scouting, so 40 years of wandering. The whole generation is going to die off. And as a denouement to the story, in case it was necessary, as for the men who actually Moses sent to scout the land, those who came back and caused the whole community to have this problem by lying to them, right? The ones who lie, they died right then and there of a plague. Right? Everyone else can wait 40 years. Those 10 die on the spot. Okay, that's the priestly spies story. Now, interwoven with that in these same chapters is another spies story. And this one comes from the J source. Here it is. Moses sends spies into the land, not the whole land, right? In P, they go from bottom to top, just the southern parts, just the Negev and the hill country, which authentically is really just like the first place that Israel settled. And so go ahead up there, just to that place, and bring back all the information and some nice fruit while you're at it, like a nectarine. And so they do, right? They went up in the Negev. They came to Hebron. We get a little information about that. They come to a place called the Wadi Eshkol, where they cut down a branch and they bring grapes. And if you get, there is some, I know that there is an Israeli wine company that uses this as its symbol, right? The 2 guys with the pole with the grapes in between them. I think it's Carmel. In any case, that's what the image here is the spies coming back bearing the grapes with them. And they come and they make they come back, they make their report. It's a nice land. It flows with milk and honey. Look, we got grapes. But the people are strong and the cities are fortified, and there's like people who live there already. Can you believe it? In this story, the spies don't lie. They don't lie, but their report is frightening, to be sure. Right? This is like right. The difference between these two stories, right? In P, it's actually the report should be good, but the spies lie. Why? I don't know. In this story, the spies tell the truth, but what they say is scary. But Caleb says, yeah, okay, but let's do it anyway, guys. Like we can overcome all of this. If you're wondering, where did Joshua go? Well, that's another one of the differences between the two stories. In P, Caleb and Joshua are the spies who tell the truth. In the J story, there is no Joshua. Why not? Because Joshua doesn't exist in the J story at all, ever, anywhere. So here it's just Caleb alone, and he's not saying no, I'm going to tell you the truth. What he's saying is it might be hard, but we should be trusting in God that we'll be successful in this. The other spies continue to be concerned that it might just not be doable. And the people are upset. And God is angry. You know what? Forget the whole people. I'm going to kill them off right now. I'm going to start again with you, Moses. And Moses, cleverly, as a response, plays on God's ego, God's sense of his own reputation. You know, when we just escaped from the Egyptians, when they hear that you killed them in the middle of the wilderness, they're going to say things like, "I guess that Israel's God just couldn't finish the job." Right? They're going to think it's on you. Right? They're not going to know all this story. They're just going to see that you couldn't do the thing you said you were going to do. And Moses even calls back to a previous episode from the J story back in Exodus 34, right? Remember, you said to me on Sinai, right? You identified yourself as slow to anger and abounding in kindness. So like, prove it. Fine. God says, I pardon them. That's fine. I won't kill them all, but none of these people are going to make it through the wilderness. They're all going to die. And look how it's framed here. Right? They have seen my presence. They have seen the signs I performed in Egypt and in the wilderness. And despite the fact that all I do is prove that I am here and that I care for them, despite that, they do nothing but try me and disobey me. This should remind us of the J story from Numbers 11 also. I've been with them. I've been providing for them the whole damn time, and they're still on with this stuff. Essentially, God here has reached the end of the divine rope. This whole generation is going to die. I'll start again with the next one, except for Caleb. Right? Caleb I'll spare. And now, God says, even though, like, literally this story takes place at the border of Canaan, right? They just sent spies across the border. They're standing right there on the edge. And God says, all right, turn around, right? Back to the wilderness with you, right? It's brutal. But in sort of in a wonderful coda to the story, the people then prove that they haven't learned anything. They're like, right? Moses says to them, we got to turn around. And they're overcome with grief and they start heading towards Canaan. Right? God just said, turn to the wilderness. And they're like, we're going to go. They say, we're going to go now, right? Sorry, our mistake. We're prepared now to go to the place that God said to go to. And Moses is like, are you serious with this? You're disobeying again. Don't do this, right? If you do this, you're doomed to fail because God won't be in your midst, right? Making the case as God has been all the whole time. When God is in your midst, God takes care of you. Now, here you are, you're going to go try this, but God's not going to be with you. Then you'll see what it's really like to not have God with you. But people are stubborn and they try anyway. And the ark and Moses sit there in the camp, going nowhere. And naturally enough, they are duly routed. So again, lots of these same themes that we saw in the earlier J story. Trust, presence, provision,